till midnight on Thursdays and 1 a.m. Fridays and Saturdays. Full menu at burgerking.ky.
The Business Buzz is proudly sponsored by Cayman Insurance Center, specializing in property, life, and other lines of insurance products and services. And Kirk Market. Experience a world of choice. And by Yum. Daily school lunch menus are available to browse on the Yum website. Just visit yumcayman.ky for more info.
And now, Radio Cayman presents The Business Buzz, an insightful and fresh take on a variety of issues that impact the local business environment. This is where we address the business topics that matter. Radio Cayman's Business Buzz. Here's your host, Kathy Miller.
Good morning, Cayman. How is everybody doing this morning? I'm sure most of you are on your way to work or just waking up right now. And I hope you have a very safe drive-in. It's a beautiful Tuesday morning. Can't complain about the weather at all. Absolutely loving it right now. I can tell you that there's definitely something going around. We know that there's been something going around, a bit of a flu, and I know it's hit me a little bit. So I'm hoping that this leaves me almost as fast as it hit me, although it's been kind of lingering for a little bit. So I'm just hoping it leaves me pretty soon. I just want to start the show off as well by saying my condolences to Dr. Colin of Cayman Vets, Jessica, and the rest of the Cayman Vets team for finding their beloved dog, Spiky. We ran so many ads over about almost a 2-month period, about a month and a half period on Radio Cayman on their missing dog. And it was a really sad ending to Spiky's life, and I got a pretty detailed email on how the dog was discovered, and it just didn't seem like Spiky had a easy ending to his life. And I truly hope that whoever is responsible for a pretty gruesome death absolutely gets that kind of same thing. Not the same thing happening to them, but I hope that they get the repercussions that is deserved, because that dog had a horrible ending. And the Cayman Vets team, and especially Dr. Colin, they poured everything into finding that dog back and spent a lot of resources and time in trying to locate that dog. So my really sincere condolences to them on their loss of their dog. And I hope that now, knowing that Spiky is no longer with us, they'll be able to find some peace and eventually, move on from that. Really sorry to hear what had happened to Spiky. It was a sad way for me to start the show, but I have to give my condolences there. We're going to start with our first guest from The Bottom Line. I'm happy to welcome Ravyn Rankin-Grant. She's the founder and CEO of The Bottom Line. Now, I met Ravyn maybe about 7 years ago maybe. And I think she was just finishing some of her studies. And I know that she was working in the financial industry anyways. So I'm going to ask Ravyn to give us a bit of a background on her, let our listeners know who she is, what her qualifications are, a little bit about The Bottom Line. And good morning, Ravyn. Welcome to the Business Buzz.
Good morning, Kathy. Thank you so much for that introduction. So as you said, my name is Ravyn Rankin-Grant. I am a CPA, certified public accountant. I have been in the industry for going on 8 years now. After graduating university, I moved back home. While I began a job with a local finance company, and I worked at that job and completed my master's degree. Once I did that, I decided to move on into the audit world and get a little bit of that experience.
What was your master's in?
Oh, accounting.
Accounting, okay,
yes,
okay.
Yes. Master's in accounting. I moved on to the audit world while completing my CPA. So that was a very, very busy time, but yes. I got through it and I did it. Once I completed my CPA, I then decided to move back into industry. And shortly after that is when I decided to open The Bottom Line. Just as a way for small businesses across the island to have another small business to come to for general guidance on, accounting practices or bookkeeping practices, best way forward, help with financial statements. Because, going to a bank, that's the first thing they're going to ask you, looking for financial statements, and whoever prepared the financial statements, are they qualified to prepare these financial statements. So that was one of my big motivations with opening my company, just being able to help the smaller businesses on island, and not just businesses, individuals as well, if they need help with financial planning. They, especially our young Caymanians, it's really important to me to try to help young Caymanians put their best financial foot forward. They want to go to the bank to get a mortgage, hopefully, or even get a car, anything like that.
You said a whole lot right there.
I did.
I'm very impressed by the fact that you also, I mean, I think I met you when you were getting your master's or just finishing your master's.
Yeah, I think so.
So I think the way you've planned for your life is phenomenal. You should be very proud of yourself.
Thank you.
You definitely had a plan and you followed through, because then to also get your CPA, I know that's really, really gruesome.
Yes.
I have known people that have tried 4 times
Oh my
to pass their exams, and it's taken them a long time, but they made it.
Yeah.
So I know it's a really grueling thing to undertake. And then to also then just go and start your own business as well, while still working full-time in financial services.
Yes.
It's a lot. How do you manage your time?
I use my calendar like crazy. Everything is in my Outlook calendar, because I don't, it has the reminders and things like that. So I try to allot times. So obviously when I'm at work. In the evenings, I'll take maybe an hour or hour to 2 hours. I do have a daughter as well, so take a little bit of family time. Then once the baby's gone to bed, then I'm working away, and then I get up the next morning and do it all again.
It's a lot. So I don't do almost half of what you're doing, and for me, what I'm doing right now is a lot. So it's really impressive. So kudos to you for everything that you are accomplishing right now. Now, the bottom line, you said some key things there in helping businesses prepare their financial statements and whatnot, especially when they got to go to the bank. Did you see a gap, or this service really needed by small businesses in Cayman?
Definitely. I mean, you have small businesses like myself, and the only other place that these small businesses could go to were more of the bigger companies, which were, charging quite a bit for what the small businesses needed. And sometimes I have small businesses that come to me and their records are actually in pretty good shape. They just need someone to tell them, yes, I'm doing this right, or, maybe you should think about doing this another way. So there was definitely a gap in the market to help those smaller businesses that don't have the capital to pay, tens of thousands of dollars a year for accounting help, but need the help.
Absolutely. And now I know that there's a handful of smaller like bookkeeping services, but they're really under the radar. So that's one thing. They're under the radar, and maybe it's a bit of a similar role that you're in. They might also be working in other businesses, might be moms or dads that have a family, and so they're just trying to manage the clients that they have and aren't really trying to necessarily be known out there so much, right? How important was it for you to get the bottom line out there in the market, to market yourself and let people know that you were available? Because you got to manage your own time, right?
Yes. I mean, it is very important to, as a young person, people may look at me and say, well, she's too young to know what she's doing, or she doesn't have the experience that X has, or something like that. Or,
do you get that a lot?
I do get that.
How do you combat that?
Everyone has their opinion, and I just try to say to them, listen, I mean, I did the same degree that X has done, and all I can tell you is I will put my best foot forward, but if you feel like you need to go with someone with more experience, that is your choice, and I will respect that. You do also have
it's a lot. I get it. And at the same time, if I think it was a business that was making millions a year and could probably afford to go to an accounting firm that they had to pay tens of thousands of dollars a year to help manage their booking and their accounts, then that they would opt to do that, right?
Exactly.
So for the smaller businesses, sometimes they're a challenge too. Sometimes the smaller business owners can be a lot more demanding on what you are offering them as a service and what your expertise is, which is hilarious, because it's like we're kind of all in the same boat here.
Exactly.
But we know what we're doing. All right. So your basic services that you're offering, you were saying, is bookkeeping, really, right? Bookkeeping. Can you give us a run through of the services that the bottom line offers?
So I offer bookkeeping services, consulting services for those clients who just want someone to look over their books, make sure they're doing it correctly, or someone who just looking for some guidance. I also offer notary services and QuickBooks training. That's actually been something that I've gotten a lot of interest with, because some people, they don't necessarily want to pay a bookkeeper every month, but they don't really know where to start. So I will come in, train the owner of the company, or maybe, the person who they have maintaining the books, yes. And we'll just do a couple hours of sessions, and I'm always available on WhatsApp if they have any questions after that. So those are my main services. And financial statement preparation.
I like that. But I like the training as well, because there's such an it's a growing avenue, really.
Yes,
so
yes. Especially with easy to use softwares like QuickBooks Online or Zoho Books or Xero. It's making it a lot easier for small businesses to do their own bookkeeping.
Right. But some of us are absolutely not financially minded whatsoever.
True.
I'm more in the creative field, and I would say, although for some reason I did really well in my accounts classes, and it was suggested by my teacher that I should go into this kind of profession, I just looked at them like, you don't really know me whatsoever. I'm just following your exact rules right here. And that's the thing about accounting. It's just basic rules to follow. I don't even want to say basic, but rules to follow. And once you follow those rules, you're rarely going to make a mistake.
Yeah. So a lot of people always are like, oh, you like numbers, but accounting is a lot more than just numbers. Like you said, it's rules and how to deal with those numbers, how to treat those numbers and reflect them in the correct ways.
Yes. Why is accounting essential for small businesses? Some people just, kind of fly by the day, and whatever happens, happens. And we don't have to really keep a record of stuff.
So it helps owners to maintain financial stability. It also helps them to make informed decisions about, the growth of their company, the direction that they want their company to go in. And it also, sometimes you have legal filing requirements. So SEMA, or just the different government entities, every year you have to file an annual return. So different things like that.
Right. That's true. You do, especially if you're a registered company, you have to do that. Is there a difference if you just have a regular trade and business license compared to a registered company?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. So registered companies then have to file the annual return. If you just have a trade and business license in your own personal name, there's unlikely you have any filing requirements. It also depends on the field that you're in.
Right. That's true, the industry. What are some of the common bookkeeping mistakes that small business owners make that you have been noticing?
I would say the biggest one is mixing personal and business finances. So if you take anything away from this conversation today, open a business account. And if you need to take money out of the business account, that's totally fine. It's your company. But then just send an amount to your personal bank account and use the money out of your personal bank account. Some other mistakes I find are just not properly tracking income and expenses. So some business owners will have the QuickBooks set up, but they're not actually doing anything with the QuickBooks. They're just invoicing out of the QuickBooks. And it is important to track your expenses in QuickBooks as well and reconcile your bank statements, because things can happen. You might think that you got paid and you actually didn't get paid, or you might think that you paid an expense, and when you're going through and reconciling your accounts, you're like, oh my gosh, I actually didn't pay this vendor. So those, I think, would be my 3 things to say. Separate bank accounts, track your expenses and your income, and reconcile your bank accounts.
I think those are some 3 pretty great tips, actually.
Thank you.
I have to say out to all the small business owners out there, I know it can take a minute to, or a very long minute to open your bank account. Yes. If for some reason, even if you have an account at the bank, it can take a couple months sometimes, and it's just,
that is true.
I don't understand what the holdup is, but it happens.
Definitely.
So that's the frustrating part as a small business. But it doesn't mean you should give up and you shouldn't do it, because as you said, it's really easy to mix your personal finances along with the business finances. And then, depending on how much revenue is being made, it can be a whole mess.
Exactly,
right?
Exactly.
We got to go to our first commercial break. And when we come back, we're going to continue talking with the bottom line.
The Cayman Islands boasts of a long, colorful, and rich history. In tribute to our roots, Radio Cayman, the voice of the Cayman Islands, is pleased to bring you the Historical Vignette Series, brought to you by Rotary Central. For more than 110 years, Rotary members have used their passion, energy, and intelligence to take action on sustainable projects. The Cayman Islands, He hath founded it upon the seas.
Sherman Erdis Ebank, Certificate of Honor, 1915 through 1995. Captain Erdis was a pioneer in the charter fishing and diving industry, for which he received the Queen's Certificate and Badge of Honor in 1991. He introduced the sport of boxing to the Cayman Islands, for which he received recognition from the Ministry of Sports, Youth Affairs, and Culture. He was a pioneer in the taxi service and in Jeep rental. He served in the Royal Cayman Islands Police Force for 10 years. During that time, the Home Guard was established, and he served there as well, keeping watch at the lighthouses during World War II. He was married to Phyllis R. Ebanks, and the couple had 4 children.
It will be Saturday, March 1st, 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. The 13th Annual Rotary Central Health Check Lifesaver, a mini medical just for you, free to you. Your blood pressure, blood sugar, cholesterol, hemoglobin, weight management, and more. Free medical guidance, doctors, nurses, medical technicians, free glucometers, blood pressure monitors, subject to conditions. Save the date March 1. See you at Cost You Less West Bay Road, A.L. Thompson's Home Depot, Foster's Airport, Foster's West Bay, Savannah United Church. The Rotary Central Health Check 25 Lifesaver, March 1st, supported by the Lions Club of Tropical Gardens and the Health Services Authority of the Cayman Islands. Knowing changes everything.
Radio Cayman's Historical Vignettes was brought to you by Rotary Central. For more than 110 years, Rotary members have used their passion, energy, and intelligence to take action on sustainable projects.
Hi, I'm Max. What's your favorite part of school?
I love science. I love playing outside. What's yours?
It's lunch.
Ha! Yum. Yes, yum.
Yum School Lunch program ensures your kids have fresh, healthy lunch options every day. Yum School Lunches are now available at selected private and public schools across Grand Cayman.
My favorite food from school is pasta, jerk chicken, and spaghetti and meatball.
I love Cayman-style beef, chicken curry. Yum. We love school lunch. Yum.
I'm Michael Webster.
And I'm Denise Brown of Cayman Insurance Center.
Family is not the most important thing, it's everything.
We have worked with the community and their families on protecting themselves for the future.
Whether it's providing top-rated life insurance
or protecting your family's household investment.
From our family to yours, we understand and we care.
I'm Denise Brown. Call me at 814-7229.
And I'm Michael Webster at 925-5433.
We are Cayman Insurance Center,
specializing in property, life, and other lines of insurance products and services at an affordable rate. We are Michael and
Denise at Cayman Insurance Center.
Call today.
Looking for fresh, healthy food that's full of flavor? Then you've got to visit Kirk Market. Our dishes are made with fresh, high-quality ingredients. Enjoy vibrant mixed greens or satisfying pasta salads. Or try one of our delicious grill options like blackened chicken, spicy beef steak, or grilled salmon. Looking for something light and flavorful? We've got sushi rolls and poke bowls prepared daily. And don't forget to explore a hot bar or Billy Fresh salad at the salad bar. Stop by Kirk Market today for breakfast, lunch, or dinner and taste the difference. Eat well, live well with Kirk Market. Hello, Radio Cayman listeners. We need your assistance. Radio Cayman is excited to announce the launch of the new listener survey. You can visit Radio Cayman's website, Facebook, or Instagram pages. Take the survey and help shape the future of Radio Cayman. Radio Cayman, the choice and voice of the Cayman Islands.
The Business Buzz with your host, Kathy Miller. Business Buzz.
Good morning. Welcome back to the Business Buzz. I'm Kathy Miller, and in studio I have Ravyn Rankin-Grant. She's the founder and CEO of The Bottom Line. Now, The Bottom Line is a locally owned and operated full-service accounting firm in the Cayman Islands. Full service? Yeah. That's pretty good.
I try.
We were talking about the 3 tips she gave us right before the break on if you're a small business, like some of the common mistakes that Ravyn sees small businesses make. So she gave 3 tips, and if you're a small business, just try to follow at least these 3 tips, and then you'll hopefully be a little bit more financially sound in your business operations. And those tips were to have a separate bank account, a business bank account, right? To be able to reconcile your statements.
Yes.
And the third, why am I forgetting the third? What's the third?
Track your income and expenses.
Okay. Now, how, I guess, what are the tips for that and tracking your income and expenses? How easy is that done?
So firstly, it also ties back into my other tip. So having a separate bank account will avoid confusion with personal expenses, and it'll simplify your record keeping. Log expenses as soon as they occur. Sometimes you'll pay for something with cash and you might not remember what it is. So it's helpful. You don't necessarily need to put in QuickBooks right away, but at least keep a written log of what you paid for and what it was in relation to. Also, sending invoices immediately after the goods or services have been delivered will then speed up the collection of the payment for your invoices. And track and follow up with unpaid invoices to reduce late payments.
Now, with invoicing, it can be tricky, right? So if I look at Radio Cayman, if we get new clients, for example, and it depends if you're out of the jurisdiction or not. Like if you're not within Cayman, we might say, hey, you got to pay us upfront, full pay right away. With new clients, we might say, okay, it's a 50% deposit, depending on what the spend is, or it might be pay us full right away as a new client, and then you'll be billed monthly. So when it comes to that, do you see also, I guess, common mistakes small businesses are making that you would suggest, try these different methods in being able to secure the cash for the services that you offer?
What I would say, it's highly dependent on the industry and kind of the decision that the owners make. A lot of the time, in construction, it'll be 50% deposit. Some bookkeepers will ask you also for maybe a 50% or 40% deposit. I will say something I do come across is the accounts receivable. People are saying, well, how do I get people to pay my invoices? How do I get the money in? Some companies will use late payments. Late payment penalties. So they'll say if you don't pay within a month, there'll be a 3% charge or something like that. So that is another way that you can try to encourage your customers to, pay those invoices in a timely manner.
I don't know if this is necessarily your kind of area of expertise, but should they have like a written agreement in place, a contract in that sense that says, hey, this is what we've agreed to do and what you're going to pay me and the terms of the payment? Definitely.
Agreements will cover you and your customer, because you are writing down in that agreement the services you are agreeing to provide to that customer, and that customer is then agreeing to pay you for these particular services.
All right. Now, we talked about accurate cash reconciliations for a small business, right? And managing payables and receivables, how that can impact a cash flow in a sense. So if you're waiting on money to come in and it hasn't come in, but you're relying on that money and able to make other parts of your business happen, if you're not getting that money, do you have any suggestions on how a small business can go forward and try to make it happen without that money coming in as yet.
So my number one tip would be try to build a nest egg, if you will, just to have at least, I would say at least at the bare minimum, 3 months of expenses in a savings account or in your operating account, just in case you do have these periods where, you know, you're not being paid for your outstanding invoices and you just need to settle your personal expenses, your business's expenses, because you can't really go to the bank and say, hey, I can't pay you this month because my customer isn't paying me.
Right.
You know, so it's very important to have, I would say at least, as I said, bare minimum, 3 months of expenses saved, or 3 months equivalent of expenses saved in a cash account for you to fall back on if needs be.
I think that's great advice, actually. I definitely don't follow that one. So maybe I'm going to incorporate that. But I think that's great advice. And we hear that often just in our personal lives anyways, right?
Yeah.
Try to have, I think it's the rule of thumb is around 6 months of savings, right?
Yeah.
And that can be really hard, especially with a majority of people that do live paycheck to paycheck. Mm-hmm. So it's a hard thing to do, but we can see what happens when we don't have a little bit of savings stacked up to help us get us through the rougher times.
Exactly.
And businesses go through it.
Exactly.
Absolutely. You also offer consulting services. When it comes to consulting, what are we talking about here? What does consulting cover for the bottom line?
So previously, as I mentioned, some clients don't necessarily need me to provide the actual bookkeeping services. They have their records up to date. They have their accounts reconciled, but they would just want me to review to say, you know, am I following correct accounting practices, and that type of thing. They can always also ask me for a little guidance with budgeting or just guidance in the best way forward. Should I do this loan? Should I look at other alternatives? Little things like that.
Okay. Do we have that option in Cayman where if I buy a car, I can put it on the business account? That kind of expense there. I know we don't have taxes in that sense where it's a tax write-off.
Yeah.
But is there any advantages of being able to do that?
So you can buy a car through your business as long as you can justify to the bank that the car is for business purposes.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. So that was just a one-off little example there.
Yes.
Because I know we operate a little different than other countries in the world where people like to say, hey, I'll take you to lunch. But guess what? That's going to be a tax write-off. But again, we don't have that to deal with. Do you deal with any businesses outside of Cayman? Or are you just strictly dealing with Cayman-based?
No, strictly Cayman.
Strictly Cayman-based businesses. Okay. So we know a little bit about what the consulting services are and the financial statement preparation. Mm-hmm. That's a big part of what you offer at the bottom line.
Yes.
So tell us, I guess, the key components of a financial statement and how they can help businesses secure loans and just become more profitable and knowing where they're going.
So the three main statements are going to be your balance sheet, your income statement, and your cash flow. Mm-hmm. So your balance sheet is just telling you your assets compared to your liabilities and your equity. Your income statement is, your income, mm-hmm. If you're profitable or not. And then your cash flows are just how you've used the cash in the year or whatever period that is. So these statements are essential when you are examining the financial health of your business, and this is what lenders will use to assess the risk, the profitability, and if you will be able to repay this loan.
Okay. All right, I like that. The challenges with technology that are coming out there. Now, I know you said one of the great things like QuickBooks, mm-hmm. so whether new software coming out or QuickBooks has been around for a minute, but there's always advances in technology that will help a business, and sometimes they feel that they don't need to consult with anybody and they got this taken care of. Is there any challenges that new technology does pose to you as a business?
Like you said, there's always challenges with everything. But I would say people will rely on the QuickBooks and stuff that they're using, and they might set up automation, which are just entries that will roll by themselves, or things like that. But you have to remember, it's a machine, so you have to check it. You have to make sure that what was put in a year ago is still applicable to today.
Right.
Things such as depreciating a car. In your QuickBooks, you might have fully depreciated it, but you still have this rule set. You still have this rule set up. So it's just going to keep going until you go in and stop it. So things like that are like, everything is smart and everything is doing what it's doing, but we do have to make sure that we are reviewing what our machines are doing and just having that oversight.
Yeah, I think sometimes we get a little too reliant on machines and, well, with AI being the boom that it is right now, and a little too reliant on boom, they're doing their job exactly how they're programmed to.
Mm-hmm.
But machines make mistakes because they have to be programmed somehow. They have to get in data input into them somehow, and that's generally by humans. So mistakes can occur, right?
Exactly.
We are coming to an end of our segment with you. So I'd like to know first where your rates start at, and then secondly, how people can get in touch with you, Ravyn, from the bottom line.
So I would say rates is very dependent upon the company. So can't really say a definite number, but it's usually dependent on, how many bank accounts that the client has and how many bank transactions usually go through the bank account. So that's usually how I do it. It's more of a time-based rate.
Okay.
And to contact me, I am available via email at info at thebottomline.ky, or you can give me a call or WhatsApp. I'm open to WhatsApps as well at 917-1919. I also have a website. It's thebottomline.ky.
Okay, awesome. I know there was a lot we missed, even to marketing your own business, because the thing about being a small business owner is often we think we can do it all ourselves.
Yes.
I definitely can't do the financial part of my business, so there's that. I do have to ask somebody to do that. And then there's people who say, okay, I'm going to do all the marketing, right? And I didn't even get to touch on that part with you, but I do see you do some marketing.
Yes.
So you're not trying to be under the radar. And I love that about you. And I hope that you have, you just reach even greater success. You're doing so well right now. And I can't wait to see in 5 years where you're going to be.
Thank you very
especially
much.
With the bottom line and your own career in finance.
Yes.
All right. Thanks for joining us this morning. It was a pleasure to have you. We're going to go to the 8 a.m. news, and I'll be back with you at 8:15.
Thank you, ladies. Thank you, Kathy. Studio time now by Foster's is 8:01.
Order up, Cayman. Foster's Bay Market Cafe is now on the Let's Eat app, bringing you mouth-watering burgers, bold wok sensations, crave-worthy Mexican food, and more. Whether you're in the mood for a sizzling stir-fry, grabbing a juicy cheeseburger for lunch, or craving a fiesta of flavors, our selection of Bay Market Cafe faves has you covered. Delivered straight to your door. No lines, no hassle. The best food on the island is now just a tap away. Hungry for more? Search Foster's on the Let's Eat app now. Foster's, better because we care.
The voice of the Cayman Islands.
89.9 FM in Grand Cayman and 93.9 FM in Caymanbrac and Little Cayman.
Silver wings shining in the sunlight.
Radio Cayman.
The 8 a.m. news is brought to you by ValueMed Pharmacy. Save time and order your prescription refills online at value-medpharmacy.com. VALU-medpharmacy.com.
For today's biggest news.
Radio Cayman, the voice of the Cayman Island.
Good morning. With a look at your latest news, I'm Jeffy Ebanks. The National Roads Authority and the Planning Department have announced new guidelines for the placement of political signs and billboards. Political signs must not exceed 128 square feet and are subject to restrictions. On straight roads, signs over 24 inches must be at least 10 feet from the road edge, while shorter signs must be at least 5 feet away. On road bends and intersections, signs over 24 inches must be at least 30 feet from the road edge. Signs are not allowed in public road medians. These guidelines aim to ensure motorists and pedestrians safe by preventing hazard and obstructed sightlines and distractions. The Planning Department or NRA may remove or relocate any signs that pose a public hazard. Scholarships are now open for the annual Enterprise Cayman Scholarship. Radio Cayman's April Cummings has more.
Enterprise Cayman has opened applications for its annual internship program, now in its 13th year, offering Caymanians aged 18 to 25 the chance to gain hands-on experience with global business in the Cayman Enterprise City Special Economic Zones. The program helps job seekers position themselves for high-growth careers in fields like software development, digital marketing, project management, virtual assets, and medtech. Over 2 to 3 months, interns engage in real-world projects, collaborate with global teams, and build professional networks. Many past interns have transitioned into full-time roles within CEC's SEZs. New in 2025, the Jack Copper Tech Internship honors the late Jack Copper, a key figure in the CEC community. Enterprise Cayman also offers a career development workshop series to equip job seekers with essential skills. The deadline is February 28th. April Cummings, Radio Cayman News.
And that's a wrap for Cayman Arts Festival 2025. Here's Radio Cayman's Carsley Fuller.
Put our hands together for Neil Miller and his reggae orchestra.
Saturday night filled the Hartwell Theater with homegrown music as Benil Miller and his reggae orchestra closed down this year's festival. The 7th concert featured over 2 weeks. The 2025 Fest featured international superstars teaming up with local talent like the Cayman Youth Choir, the CAF Youth Camarada, and the First Baptist Church Choir. And it felt fitting to wrap it all up in a Cayman-kind bow with local artist Benil Miller, who brought the vibes, the lyrics, the history, and the charm.
Since I know you enjoy the show, if any of you out there would love to see it again after you see what happens here tonight, all I need is some sponsorship, that's it.
Up next for Cayman Arts Festival is its Sonata series. You can learn more online at CaymanArtsFestival.com. Reporting for Radio Cayman News, I'm Carsley Fuller.
Thank you, Carsley. That's your latest news. I'm Jevi Ebanks. Now to the BBC for headlines around the world.
BBC News with David Harper. Russia and the US have ended the first day of their direct talks since Moscow's attack on Ukraine. The Kremlin's representative said it was hard to tell whether they were getting closer to each other. US officials had hoped to find out if Russia wanted to end the war. The Russians had said the aim was the full restoration of ties. Kiev and Europe have been left out of the discussions. The EU Commission president said Europe will step up its commitment to Kiev. Lebanon says Israeli troops have pulled out of villages in the south in accordance with its truce agreement with Hezbollah, but it will maintain troops at 5 outposts, a decision criticised by the UN. A Sudanese activist group has accused the Rapid Support Forces of killing more than 200 people in White Nile State over the past 3 days. The RSF is in the process of setting up a rival government. The UN says the M23 rebels have executed children in Bukavu, the Congolese town the group took last week. There have also been reports of sexual violence and forced recruitment. The government in Tokyo aims to increase the use of nuclear and renewable energy. It wants to cut greenhouse gas emissions by 60% from 2013 levels. Reports from Mali say dozens of people have been killed in clashes between separatists and government forces near the Algerian border. The two sides have given widely differing estimates of the number of fatalities. The Pope will stay in hospital at least over the weekend. He's suffering from a respiratory tract infection, and the Vatican says the clinical situation is complex, but that the pontiff is in good spirits. Antonine Maillet, the only Canadian winner of France's most high-profile literary award, the Goncourt, has died at the age of 95. She came from the small French-speaking Acadian community in New Brunswick, but President Macron said her loss was mourned wherever French was spoken. Live from London, that's the latest. BBC News.
The 8 a.m. news is brought to you by ValueMed Pharmacy. Save time and order your prescription refills online at value-medpharmacy.com. VALU-medpharmacy.com.
Now, more than ever, supporting your immune system is crucial to helping your body fight off illnesses like the common cold, the flu, and COVID-19. At ValueMed Pharmacy on Walkers Road and in Boddentown, we carry all the essential vitamins and minerals to help support your immune system and improve your overall health. Some of our top immunity support picks are vitamin C, vitamin D, zinc, elderberry, and quercetin, or the popular 7-in-1 immunity support. Our pharmacists are always on hand to help guide you and answer any questions. Visit ValueMed Pharmacy on Walkers Road or Boddentown. Live happy, live healthy with ValueMed Pharmacy.
Stay in touch with Radio Cayman with the latest up-to-date, accurate news and information. For your convenience, the headline news will be repeated on our sister station, Breeze 105.3 FM, weekdays at 8:30 a.m. Follow Radio Cayman on social media, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, or download the Radio Cayman app in the App Store or log on to www.radiocayman.gov.ky and stay connected to what's happening in the community. Radio Cayman, your voice, your choice, your radio.
Tune in every Monday through Friday at 12 p.m. for Radio Cayman's Midday Newscast. Radio Cayman, the People's Station, your trusted official source for the latest news. The 12 p.m. news is proudly brought to you by Health City Cayman Islands. World-class healthcare within your reach.
Can you tell me what does a turtle do on his birthday? He celebrates! Celebrate your loved one's special birthday with a birthday shout-out live on For the Record with Mr. Oret Connor, only on Radio Cayman. WhatsApp your loved one's name to 925-3261. That's 925-3261. Radio Cayman's birthday shout-outs live on For the Record with Mr. Oret Connor every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday.
Happy birthday to ya! Brought to you by Coca-Cola. Available across the Cayman Islands. From Tortuga Wholesalers. Accept no substitutes. Taste the feeling with Coca-Cola. And by Yum. Daily school menus are available. YumCayman.ky. The 8 a.m. weather update. Brought to you by
CG Britcay, where people come first.
Good morning. Let's take a look at the latest weather report. Current temperature is 81 degrees. Relative humidity is 77%. The barometric pressure 30.00 inches and rising. The wind is northeast at 11 knots. Overnight low temperature was 74 degrees. Synopsis indicate light to moderate winds and slight seas are expected across the Cayman area for the next 24 hours. In association with a weak pressure gradient across the northwest Caribbean. Radar images show isolated showers moving towards the west. Now the forecast for today calling for mainly sunny becoming partly cloudy at times with a 20% chance of afternoon showers, and temperatures today will be in the mid-80s. Winds will be east to northeast at 10 to 15 knots. Seas will be slight to moderate with wave heights of 2 to 4 feet. Tonight, mainly fair, becoming partly cloudy with a 20% chance of late night showers, and temperatures falling to the mid-70s tonight. Your winds will be east to northeast at 5 to 10 knots, and seas will be slight to moderate with wave heights of 2 to 4 feet. High tide will be this afternoon at 12, low tide again tonight at 7:13. The sun will set this evening at 6:25 and will rise tomorrow morning at 6:52. And the outlook is calling for similar weather conditions through Thursday night. Thereafter, an increase in winds and seas as a frontal boundary stalls across the northwest Caribbean. And that's the very latest on your weather report.
Hey, Bill, glad to see you back in the office.
Who?
Bill.
Oh, sorry. I think you're mistaking me for someone else.
Tom.
Nope.
Jack.
No.
Alex.
No. Want me to just tell you?
Nope, I got this, George.
No, you don't. Still not me.
Adam.
Not even close, man.
We're like a coworker that didn't forget your name. CG Britcay. Good like that.
Okay, good to see you, Mike John Sean.
It's Mordecai.
The 8 a.m. weather update. Brought to you by
CG Britcay, where people come first.
Hi, I'm Deputy Governor Franz Manderson, and I'm excited to announce the DG's 5K Challenge is just around the corner. We kick off things in Little Cayman on March 9th, followed by Cayman Brac on March 16th, and the grand finale on Grand Cayman on March 30th. This year, we're supporting the Cayman Islands Girls Brigade, the Cayman Islands Scouts Association, and the 1-to-1 Foundation, each helping to shape our next generation. Join us in making a positive impact. For registration details, find us on Facebook at DG's 5K Challenge.
Water Authority Cayman wishes to advise its valued customers of a planned traffic disruption on Austin Connolly Drive over 2 days, Wednesday the 19th of February and Thursday the 20th of February, between the hours of 9 a.m. and 3 p.m. The eastbound lane of Austin-Connolly Drive will be occupied during these times, diverting all traffic into the westbound lane using a portion of the road shoulder. The Water Authority apologizes for any inconvenience this may cause and appreciates the public's understanding.
The traffic report is brought to you by Subway. Enjoy a delicious start to your day with breakfast from Subway.
And let's take a quick look at what's happening on our roads. Traffic is heavy on the Linford Pearson Highway and coming off of Bobby Thompson Way. Traffic steady. Steady traffic off the Linford Pearson Highway on Agnes Way. Slight delays expected. And slow-moving traffic on Crew Road heading to Georgetown. And eastbound traffic on Crew Road is moving along pretty good. Flowing nicely on Edward Street into Georgetown and Shedmore, looking pretty good as well. Coming from the West Bay four-way stop, expect moderate flow of traffic. On the West Bay Road in front of the Ritz, traffic is flowing pretty good in both directions. And moderate flow of traffic coming off of the Esley Tibbetts Highway, continuing on to Industrial Park area. North Sound Road, moderate flow of traffic in both directions. Godfrey Nixon Way and Eastern Avenue flowing at a good pace. And that's what's happening on your roads. Join us again at about 10 minutes past 12. We'll give you another look at traffic. Have a good morning and click it or tick it.
Did you know ordering your favorite sandwich from Subway just got easier? Yeah, picture this. No more waiting in line. No more fussing with cash. Just a delicious taste of Subway at your fingertips. With our new app, ordering your go-to sub is as easy as a few taps on your phone. Plus, receive exclusive deals and earn loyalty points with every purchase made on the app. Download the new Subway app today and get ready to ditch the lines and drive straight into your flavor. Visit the App Store or Google Play Store on your mobile phone and search for Subway Cayman Islands. Subway. Eat fresh.
The traffic report is brought to you by Subway. Enjoy a delicious start to your day with breakfast from Subway.
The Business Buzz with your host, Kathy Miller.
Good morning. Welcome back to the Business Buzz. I am Kathy Miller, and in studio for this segment of the show, I am welcoming Ralph Lewis, publisher of the Caymanian Times. Now, I knew Ralph. Ralph started as a client with a financial services company that Ralph had. I think that's how we first met Ralph, and then I remember one day you're like, I'm going to start a newspaper. And I'm like, no way. And I can't remember if Net News was still around because I used to work with Desmond Seals.
Yes.
So I used to work with Desmond back in the day when I first moved here. And the Compass was still doing their thing. And you were like, yeah, I'm going to do a newspaper. I was like, okay, let's go. Let's see how this goes. And it's been a while.
It's been a while. And thanks for having me again this morning. It's been a journey. Yes, my background is financial services, and after I retired from the bank, I decided to do some consulting, and that led into media, and now I can't let it go.
You know, I don't blame you. I love media.
But it has a place. It has a place, and it particularly, the traditional forms of media will be around forever, and so I'm stuck in that phase right now.
Well, you're bridging both forms of media when it comes to traditional media and digital media, right?
Yes.
Because although you did start a podcast a couple years ago.
Yes.
You slowed down with it, but you're picking it back up again, and that's Cayman Conversations.
That's correct.
So let us know what is new, what is going on with Cayman Conversations, what is the pivot with that?
Well, I realize that there needs to be other talk shows.
Oh, come on, Ralph. Really, thank you. Thanks a lot.
And, because I had some background in radio, people like to hear what I say. I said, okay, well, let me see if I can start my podcast. And we decided about 2 years ago to start Cayman Conversations. It was 4 days a week around midday. But we realized that, okay, well, it took some time and energy from the newspaper. Yeah. So we had to sort of change it around. So now what we ended up with is a recorded conversation with individuals or groups, and we write the article from that conversation, and then we broadcast it the following week on social media.
Okay.
And that's what we have today. So we started our 5th series this weekend. So yesterday, Sunday, we had our 2 interviews, and we're going to replay them on Thursday at 4, and then Sunday again at 4, and Thursday at 4.
Where do you replay them?
On social media.
On
Our
social
Facebook
media.
page and our YouTube page.
Okay.
So,
Okay.
yes, so anybody can just go to Caymanian Times and they'll find them right there.
So what brought your kind of want to resurrecting Cayman Conversations?
Well, I always had interviews, not only with you and your team, but with clients, and it came from, remember that pandemic days?
Oh yeah, of course.
With all the questions, all those press briefings, and people always said, "Rather like the questions you asked. You were down to earth, you were honest, you're very respectful of the guests, and they like talking to you." So we said, let's piggyback on that, and then we started talking to some other folks. They felt comfortable. Well, Ralph is not really someone who's trying to catch me out or give me a difficult question. He just wants to hear the truth, and let me say what I have to say, and so that's what we did.
That's a really important point, because as I was just saying to our previous guest, I'm not going to ask questions that are going to stump you, because that doesn't make for good radio. I'm not here to stump somebody and make them belittle them or make them feel small. You're the expert in whatever industry it is that you're talking about.
Yes.
And I'm just here to have the conversation with you, get a better understanding, put some things in layman terms or a sense that we can all understand and learn something, and just help facilitate a conversation.
Exactly.
And it's just about that sharing of information that's important. There's different styles people will approach media in, but I think to kind of go in an aggressive manner it's a turnoff. For me, it's a turnoff. For some people, love that.
And what you find out being on the radio or in television anywhere, people are nervous, particularly those who are your guests. They're nervous.
Yes.
You have to be able to talk in a calm voice, calm them down, make them feel comfortable.
Yes.
And so they will then be able to open up and say what they have to say.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that's important. And your listeners appreciate that. It's not your show. You have a guest. The guest needs to say what they have to say. So listeners are listening to hear what your guests say, not what you say.
Yeah.
And so that is important for a conversation. You listen, you respond. You listen, you respond. And that's why it's called Cayman Conversations.
All right. Well, with election season, it's kicked off.
Yes.
So things are, nominations day is exactly less than 2 weeks away, because March 3rd is nominations day, right? So then we'll know everybody coming out the grass on who's actually running.
Yes, that's
we hear
right.
little sprinkles of things here and there. We know more than a handful of people who are running who've already committed to this. Then there'll be that little rebuttal time of, nope, somebody's nomination might get
cancelled or
canceled, rejected somehow. Some people might have to drop out. So there's all these things that happen, right? But I think this is a good time for you to be able to bring back Cayman Conversations in that sense, and have a bit of a political focus. Is that what you're trying to do?
Well, that was the reason for it, relaunching it around this time. I was very concerned we're not hearing much from our candidates.
Really?
And
Me too.
I've been saying, I had an interview with Mr. Howell. We replayed it last week, Sunday ago. And we had the same concerns. He wished that people had come out before, because that encourages voters to vote.
Yeah, it does.
You can register to vote. We had a campaign to register, but if I don't know who to vote for, I'm not going to vote.
Yeah.
So we need to make people know who's running, and not just my name. You need to know about me and what I stand for.
Right.
And 2 weeks or 2 months is not enough time.
Ralph, I'm going to ruffle some feathers right now. But in having some conversations with people, and I said, you guys have to get out there more. You have to have these conversations. You have to talk to people. And I hear, door to door is most effective. There hasn't been anybody door to door in my neighborhood as yet. Maybe that'll happen. I don't know, but I can tell you. In fact, where I live, not once over the past 4 years have I seen our elected candidate in that neighborhood, period. Perhaps they're in their own little block. I don't know. But in my particular little stretch, that hasn't happened. So while I can appreciate the door-to-door thing, it's not easy as well to reach people that way. And a lot of the time, I don't want you coming to my house. Some people really do want that. I do not want you coming to my house. You must make an appointment. You must call before you come.
Course.
But if there's other avenues where I know that I can listen to you and hear what you have to say as a candidate, whether it's radio interviews, whether it's anything on social media, whether it's print, I know that I can go and listen on my time or tune in for something that I know is coming. I'm going to do that. And my point to a lot of those candidates out there, if you are scared to talk, why would anybody vote for you? Yeah. If you are not prepared at this moment or tomorrow immediately to talk about issues, policies, things that are concerning the citizens, why are you even running?
And that's true. And we can take a few lessons from the American election campaign. What is happening now is a totally different story. Yeah. But they ran very good campaigns.
Yeah, they did.
For years. So by the time the election happened, people knew what they were voting for, and they voted.
Right. Hands
down. We are still trying to figure out who to vote for here. Some of the parties are still creating their teams.
Yep.
We have names dropping here and there, and then there's some billboards with individuals popping up. There are things on social media. There needs to be some concrete campaigns that are consistent. And you have to, and we're going to segue right into what we do now. Traditional media is still important in elections because we give the ability to not only listen to someone, speak for a certain length of time, but also we cover in the newspaper, we cover the stories and the profiles, and people can sit down and read about these people. Social media has a place.
Yes.
But it's fast food.
But we also have to look at that reach of social media.
Yes, it's a fast food. And of course, fast food is good up to a point. It's affordable and quick. But for nutrition wise, we still encourage you to eat your vegetables and your fruits. So think of it that way. In media and in news, social media is great. You get those snippets and you know what's happening. But to get the essence of an individual who's running for election, you want to hear from them in a 15-20 minute segment. You want to read about them, what they can publish, and those things make the whole package. So social media is great, and life cannot get along without it. But you cannot not participate in traditional media.
Absolutely agree. Social media, as you said, gives you a snippet, so you're not getting the full picture of something. Right. And I love social media. I love digital marketing. Period. It's my thing. So we're both in this in that area and traditional media as well. But Cayman is a very, very traditional media based country.
Yes.
Radio is never leaving Cayman. People love their radio in Cayman.
Of course.
And print media, big time. When you remember when another publication said we're only going to go digital, and there was an uproar for how long? And you were like, well, I've been printing, and I'm going to continue to print.
And I know it's working because I had to increase my number of newspapers that I distribute. They're just running off the shelves. You can't find them. People call me, Ralph, where are your papers? I just put them out. So we actually increased the number of papers put out, and I monitor that. So I know people are taking them up and reading them. So it's still around, it's still important, it's still relevant. And you know that the person that influences voting in elections time is the older folks.
Oh, yeah. 53 years old is your average age of voters. So are 53-year-olds on Instagram all day long?
No, it's not going to happen.
What are they? They're probably working and taking care of business.
Yes.
And when they need to tune into something or figure something out, they're going to make that time to, they might access via their phone or computers.
Yes.
They might tune into a radio show, pick up the newspaper, and do their reading.
That's one. And of course, they're key because they're the ones who have the experience and knowledge of what happened before. And so when the young voters that come along want to make a decision, they talk to the older folks. And that's how decisions are made on elections. So if you ignore reaching those average 53-year-old folks, you are losing reaching the wider audience.
Exactly.
And it's not a snippet, it's a complete picture, a complete package. So when you look at your budget, you have to factor in all these avenues for reaching folks, not just depend heavily on social media. It's there. I wake up in the morning at 2 o'clock and see what's happening on Instagram. But you have to have that balance in your life.
Absolutely.
You can't, like you said, it's like a fast food. You can't eat fried chicken all the time. You have to get your vegetables, you have to drink your water, you have to get your tea, you have to have your fruits, you have to eat proper fish and chicken. So you have to have your main meal. But yes, fast food works out sometimes. So you have to be able to balance it and have a wholesome life.
And no matter no matter if you're doing a marketing campaign for an individual business, for example, or if you're doing it for elections right now, you have to know where your audience is. So if I'm trying to reach 20-year-olds, I'm going to primarily use TikTok and Instagram, not even really Facebook, because they're not necessarily on there as much. But those might be the social platforms that I'm using. But if I'm trying to reach people 40 and over, average age 53 for voters, I'm going to go to the media that those people are primarily tuned into. And that's what I think for a lot of the younger marketers need to understand when it comes to understanding who the target audience is.
I'm surprised that there's not enough meetings being held.
And it's going to be last minute. It's going to be last minute, and they're going to stress us out, all of us.
I went to a breakfast meeting on Saturday. I'm starting to get out now, and it was attended by, like I said, average older persons. But it was so important, and they were hungry for information on those candidates.
Yeah.
The thing is, when you have the meetings, you have to tell people when the meeting's going to be.
Yeah.
I'm seeing pop up on social media, there's a meeting tomorrow.
I haven't even seen that.
Before you had ads on the radio, advertising when the meetings are. I've created a column, which is free, of course, where you have a calendar for meetings. Just send me the information. I'll publish it every Tuesday and Wednesday. But you have to give people time to plan. And so therefore we have to have those dates maybe 2 weeks before, so people can make a plan to come to your meeting. But they want to come out and listen to you and hear what you have to say. Because if you can't speak to someone face to face, there's a problem with representing that
Absolutely.
person.
Yeah, and public meetings are still a really big thing here.
Because with all the AI facilities and the benefits, and using that to create your little 1-minute ads and so on, it's good. But you still have to have that face-to-face with people, like knocking on doors and have those presentations on a stage and a podium. People can see who is a real dynamic speaker, who can reach somebody, who can stand in parliament and address the concerns of the country. And that's how you make a stand.
100% agreed. 100% agreed.
You know why Donald Trump won?
You know what? I do, because a lot of media manipulation right there. And also, not only media manipulation, because that is very much what he did, especially with Elon Musk. And I really don't want any Trump supporters to call and argue this with me, because I will bury you in other facts, and that's not what today's show is about.
Right.
But aside from that, he also appealed to what a lot of the your regular folk were dealing with, which was so much the cost of living. Although, I mean, we're going to cut back taxes and all these things. None of that's happened. It's actually gone the exact opposite. But he just knew the words to say to appeal to people, and that's how he got it. And we got to go to a commercial break. And before we go to the commercial break, I want to let our listeners know, if you do want to call in, if you do want to let us know what your thoughts are, 1-800-534-8255. That's a toll-free number. 949-6990. 949-8037, or you can WhatsApp call or WhatsApp text us at 925-3261.
I'm Michael Webster.
And I'm Denise Brown of Caymanian Insurance Center.
Family is not the most important thing, it's everything.
We have worked with the community and their families on protecting themselves for the future.
Whether it's providing top-rated life insurance
or protecting your family's household investment.
From our family to yours, we understand and we care.
I'm Denise Brown. Call me at 814-7229.
And I'm Michael Webster at 925-5433.
We are Caymanian Insurance Center,
specializing in property, life, and other lines of insurance products and services at an affordable rate. We are Michael and
Denise at Caymanian Insurance Center.
Call today.
Looking for fresh, healthy food that's full of flavor? Then you've got to visit Kirk Market. Our dishes are made with fresh, high-quality ingredients. Enjoy vibrant mixed greens or satisfying pasta salads. Or try one of our delicious grill options like blackened chicken, spicy beef steak, or grilled salmon. Looking for something light and flavorful? We've got sushi rolls and poke bowls prepared daily. And don't forget to explore a hot bar or Billy Fresh salad at the salad bar. Stop by Kirk Market today for breakfast, lunch, or dinner and taste the difference. Eat well, live well with Kirk Market.
Radio Cayman, maintaining the innovation.
on a daily basis, making it easy to connect with you, our listeners. Add us to WhatsApp today, 925-3261. That's 925-3261.
Radio Cayman.
Send a text or voice note.
Message us at 925-3261 on WhatsApp today and get active with Radio Cayman.
Radio Cayman, the voice of the Cayman Islands.
Radio Cayman, maintaining the innovation.
Hi, I'm Max. What's your favorite part of school?
I love science. I love playing outside. What's yours?
It's lunch.
Ha! Yum. Yes, yum.
Yum School Lunch program ensures your kids have fresh, healthy lunch options every day. Yum School Lunches are now available at selected private and public schools across Grand Cayman.
My favorite food from school is pasta, jerk chicken, and spaghetti and meatball.
I love Cayman style beef, chicken curry. Yum. We love school lunch. Yum.
The Business Buzz with your host, Kathy Miller. Business Buzz.
Good morning. Welcome back to the Business Buzz. As I mentioned right before the break, we are looking to take any calls. If you want to chime in on the conversation, the numbers to call are 1-800-534-8255. That's the toll-free number with Flow. You know, I was about to say line, which is crazy. There's 949-6990, 949-8037, and you can WhatsApp call or WhatsApp text us at 925-3261. And in studio with me right now, I have Ralph Lewis, who's the publisher of the Caymanian Times newspaper. We were just discussing him bringing up his podcast, basically. It's called Cayman Conversations, yes. And now it's kicking off again, especially for election season that's happening right now. The importance of traditional media in the Cayman Islands is never going to go away. Right. We know that there's digital media as well that's, you know, taking flight in Cayman as well. And I guess trying to understand which media works best for the target audience that you're going after, what your target audience is mostly tuned into. And because we have a bit of a focus right now on election season, right?
Yes, yes. Mm-hmm.
You know, you have a newspaper company.
Right.
Right? I work for radio. So right. Two traditional forms of media. We're both in the digital on our own, the digital realm as well. So in looking at what's going on, you know, we've both shared the same sentiments that there's a lot of, it seems to be like a lack of candidates coming forth, ready to speak, especially the ones that have already declared. Yes. I'm not worried about the ones that are coming out for nominations day, but the ones that have already declared, that seems to be a lack of let's go and talk about what we're about. Because with radio, it's all about frequency. So the more that you're being heard, the more top of mind awareness that you're going to have with people. The more that they're like, you know what? I continuously see Ralph coming on and talking about these issues. That seems to be somebody that's tuned in, that cares, that is trying to offer solutions and make a difference, as opposed to Johnny Come Lately that I've never seen or heard.
Yes.
And I'm wondering what they're all about.
Right. But as a financial guy, I understand the challenges with financing a campaign. Mm-hmm. And most people feel that it's a very expensive way of doing it. It isn't. But you have to understand that there is a certain period that you have to avoid. Mm-hmm. And that's when everybody's trying to get those slots to get the week before elections. Now, if you decide to wait till that time, you're probably not going to get a good slot in a newspaper or a radio station or even on social media, because they're all taken up. Secondly, there's so much people and chatter happening then, your message will get lost.
Yeah.
The campaign is about a length of time before the dates to convince people that they should vote for you.
Yeah.
If they don't hear from you until the week before election, you're not going to get the votes.
Yeah, I agree.
And that's why a lot of parties have lost, because they've waited the last minute and they've, like I said, neglected a segment of their voting public. Unfortunately, if you're going to run for elections, you have to have a campaign and a budget to reach everyone. It takes one vote to make you lose. If you're going to give your time and energy, you have to have the money to support it. And by talking to these media outlets or these platforms, you can arrange and work out a budget and maybe have some that we can pay on a monthly basis or over time to get it done, because you have to get it done. And so this discussion is very good, not because we are conflicted or because we are in the business, but we want to get the best outcome for the elections. And if people can't hear what the rules running say, we're going to have a situation where people voted in that no one knows about. And you want to avoid that. And of course, you don't want a situation when people don't vote. I was talking about the results of the last elections that we've had, and the percentage is very high. But if you have a lot of people not running again, who you normally vote for, and there are new people running, you're not going to just vote for them because somebody said so. They now have to do the mileage and get their name and their message out there. So when the time comes to vote, people will vote. Otherwise, I'm hearing people saying, Ralph, I might not vote this year because I don't know who's running. I don't know which party's really together or getting it together by 10. And if I don't know, I can't vote. So yes, we have registered a lot of people, 24,000, I think, around that mark.
Yeah, around
but
that,
still,
just under that, I think.
The work is not done. There needs to be some action on voting day, and I need to know who I'm going to put my vote for, because I only got one vote, and it has to be that right person. And so we need to get the message out as a candidate. I'm not a candidate, but I'm just talking. We have candidates. Please try and get a message out now rather than later. If you're not sure if you're going to run, you could always put feelers out. I was talking to a gentleman, a friend of mine, and he, Mario Ebanks, and he said, okay, I'm not sure yet, but we'll know very soon. At least he's letting people know, you know what, guys, these are my topics, this is where I stand, and I might run, what I might not, I'm not sure yet, but just in case.
This is Mr. Ebanks who ran for West Bay West, I think, right?
Yes.
So you know how you spoke about, one vote could make you lose? I think it was less than 30 votes that he lost by. I think it was 23 or 27. I can't remember.
Small amount.
Very tiny amount that Mr. Ebanks lost by.
Exactly.
So it really goes to show you how important your vote is in your electoral district.
And you can read about the conversation in this Friday's newspaper, because we did the interview last week. And that's one of the Cayman conversations that we're talking about.
Okay.
And we had a problem with the audio. So I have to record it again. But the story that he says, these things are in the printed paper.
Okay.
So those of you who are not on social media or prefer to read what he says in the newspaper can pick up the Friday's paper and read about that conversation. And just to come back to what we're talking about, you should have all platforms with your information on it. Not everyone wants to listen to a radio. Not everyone wants to read a newspaper. Some want to go on Facebook or YouTube and spend their time, and that works. But we can't take the chance of guessing which one that person will want to use, because we don't know.
Right.
So we have to use all.
Right.
And that's the message I want to bring out today.
And I know with Radio Cayman, we do have rates that are specific when it comes to election season. So if you're a candidate, we know you're running, you've already declared it, or come nominations day, we definitely know you're running now.
Yes.
There are rates to book an interview with us, but there's also free avenues in being able to get out there. So for those candidates that might not have the budget, some of the independents, which I don't think there's going to be a whole lot of independents this time around, but I know there's a bit of a handful. When I look at that, we offer, I think it's 15 minutes, at least 15 minutes free interview time on Radio Cayman.
Right.
Do you do anything similar like that with Cayman Conversations or Caymanian Times? Okay.
And what we do is, if the candidate says, okay, Ralph, I can't afford to have it printed in the newspaper, but I'll pay for the interview. I say, okay, well, no problem. I throw in the newspaper piece for free.
Right. Well, you're already kind of doing the newspaper piece, as you were saying.
Exactly.
The newspaper piece is coming from the conversation.
Exactly. So,
So they get that extra kind of coverage right there.
And if someone does some business with me, I give them free, complimentary, coverage of visibility. So it happens.
Right.
But you need to come forward, and you need to want to reach your voters.
Right.
Just going from house to house is not sufficient, because people don't make a decision based on you knocking on their doors. It's good to know who's running, but the decision making is done in a family environment where we discuss who we think should be the right person, and someone influences that discussion. It's okay, but maybe you should think about this person too. And that's how we make decisions.
Right.
Not by just listening to one person.
Agreed.
And that's why it's so important to reach as much as you can.
You hit another important point. We also make decisions not by just listening to one just to one person or one point. Now, Radio Cayman is also introducing candidate debates. That's going to kick off March 10th for us every Monday night on Radio Cayman. Good. These are free for candidates. And we've reached out to candidates, and some people are gung-ho for it. Mm-hmm. Some people's questions are, well, it takes a lot of prep. It takes a lot of prep. And my rebuttal is always, how are you not already prepared? How are you not prepared to discuss the issues going on in the country that you live in and for something that you're running in for people to vote for you? How are you not prepared to talk to people?
Yes.
That blows me away. The Chamber of Commerce also has their chamber forums that they're doing, a series of them. I think it's about 23 or so chamber forums, and then a party leader debate. I don't know. I'm assuming that's also free for candidates to go in. But these are ways that if you are a candidate that doesn't have a big budget, or maybe you're with a party that doesn't have a big budget, these are ways for you to get out there and talk, and for people to get to know who you are and to stand on what your policies are, what your beliefs are. Let people know what you're running for, what you stand for. And I think that's so important in being able to just get out there and communicate with the public. And if you don't, it just makes me look like, okay, well, if silence means that you can't be misinterpreted, well, the person talking is who's going to be remembered.
Yeah. And I will give one of my personal examples. One of the people was asking me, how you been around for so long? 13 years. I said, you know what I did? When I started off in Venice Plaza 2013, I was doing the printing myself in a little office space I rented. But every Friday, my friend and I would go in the road and hand out the papers. I was there handing out papers.
Yeah, I remember that. Yeah.
So I was the first one to actually give out papers on the road. Other people are doing it now, but from 2013, I was giving away that free. It looked like a 8x11 booklet, and it was called Cayman Weekly. That's how we started, and I was giving it to people away. And what that happened, people got to know about the publication, and over time it built. So as a politician or as a candidate, you need to get out there and meet your people. Do what you have to do to reach that audience.
Agreed.
And you can't just wait on somebody walking into a market to pick up a newspaper. You have to get them out there, get it in their hands.
Yeah, there's a lot involved. There's hitting the ground on your own, which is important. There's the media outreach, which is just equally as important. We got to go to our next commercial break, but when we come back, we will wrap the conversation.
Looking for fresh, healthy food that's full of flavor? Then you've got to visit Kirk Market. Our dishes are made with fresh, high-quality ingredients. Enjoy vibrant mixed greens or satisfying pasta salads. Or try one of our delicious grill options like blackened chicken, spicy beef steak, or grilled salmon. Looking for something light and flavorful? We've got sushi rolls and poke bowls prepared daily. And don't forget to explore a hot bar or Billy Fresh salad at the salad bar. Stop by Kirk Market today for breakfast, lunch, or dinner and taste the difference. Eat well, live well with Kirk Market.
Cocoa Fest is back at Pedro St. James, Saturday, 22nd of February from 12 p.m. to 6 p.m. Enjoy crafts, games, music, coconut-inspired food and treats, health and beauty products, and enjoy local cooks, craftsmen, artisans, and farmers through a shared love of Cayman coconut. Admission is only $15 for adults, and kids 6 to 12 is $5, and 6 and under are free. So go coconuts at Cocoa Fest and enjoy one of Cayman's culture and tradition. Saturday, February 22nd. For more info, email admin@pedrostjames.ky or contact 947-3229.
Social media, X, formerly Twitter, Facebook, Instagram. Interact with our talk shows on YouTube. Download our official Radio Cayman app, or you can log on to our website, www.radiocayman.gov.ky. You can also add us to WhatsApp
on 925-3261.
All the latest information, breaking news, community events, and more. Radio Cayman. The Business Buzz with your host, Kathy Miller. Business Buzz.
Welcome back to the Business Buzz. I am Kathy Miller, and in studio with me I have Ralph Lewis, who is the publisher of the Caymanian Times. And I keep mentioning he's restarted the podcast, Cayman Conversations, especially in time for this political season. And Ralph, going forward, do you think mostly who you want to talk to, especially on Cayman Conversations, is going to be the candidates that are running in this election?
Well, before I answer that question, I must say I'm enjoying this discussion today.
Me too.
And thank you for having me. It's important that we get the right candidates to form the government. And with a number of existing parliamentarians, maybe they are not parliamentarians anymore because the House may have been prorogued already.
No, not yet.
Not yet.
That's 2 days before March 3rd. They're saying Saturday, but I'm like, how does it prorogue on a Saturday? So I'm thinking the Friday, whatever that date is.
Well, we hear a number of those parliamentarians are not going to run again.
5 of them, I think.
So therefore, that is going to open up the House for a new breed of people. We need to get the right folks in there. And I don't have a specific interest in a specific party. I've always been neutral because I think the people deserve to make a decision, not me telling them who to choose. I'm here to give the information that is required for them to make the right decisions, not to tell them who to vote for. That's not my job as a media platform. And so we're providing a platform for people to get the information out. And yes, there are a number of people that I've looked at and I'm trying to figure out, okay, who's going to win? But right now, I'm sorry, I can't say. It's all up in the air.
Why do you say you can't say? I mean, I don't expect you to give me your predictions.
Yes.
But in the sense of you can't quite tell, what makes that happen?
There were times when you could sense an individual that the district really appreciate, and we call them those were the word I'm looking for. Those were the people that would never lose. They were the stalwarts. You talk about Kurt Tibbetts, and even in recent times, Roy McTaggart. You heard those names popping up. And they always had a good following.
Yes.
Now, things are changing. There's a new group of people running. And I can't say with comfort that those same people are going to win again. Because you have to keep an open mind. Yes, they may have an advantage because they have experience. But the individuals that used to have the swing are not having it as they used to. We're not hearing as much from them. And maybe because they got complacent. But we need to see them come back out and start talking and convince us. Because times have changed.
Times definitely have changed.
Voters have changed. That balance is changing. And we have a lot more people voting. So we need to understand that it takes one or two to make a difference. And if you are just depending on the group that you always had, that group is changing too. And so we have to understand the mechanics on the ground of how the electoral process works and how the electors are. And at this stage, I'm not hearing from many people because we have a lot of challenges happening in the Cayman Islands. And so who's going to fix those problems? I can start with a list right now of things that are happening that needs to be fixed. Who's going to fix those things? I need to know somebody who has the knowledge or is available or is willing to take those things on and be strong and make the decision that needs to be made. And that strength I don't see. I'm so sorry, I just can't.
It's interesting because last elections, Cayman voted primarily for independents to go into government. And we've seen the 4 major shifts in government within these past 4 years. It was at least 4. And so, the consensus came that, the independent thing doesn't work. And, we may need to favor party politics in that sense. But so now we're seeing a handful of parties that have been formed, and not even a coalition of people joining together, but a so-called handful of parties, right? Some parties might be full of independents, but still considering, calling themselves a party. I can appreciate it. We have traditional parties that we've known for a long time, but yet it's still, I feel like we're still not seeing enough from any of the parties that are out there right now. I don't know what they're waiting on.
I'm concerned. I've been speaking about this and writing about this for years. That if you want to run for elections, you should have your act together 2 years before. Now it's less than 2 months, and just about 2 months, and we need to know what's happening. There's the groups or parties, as we call them at this stage, but you need to have a majority of votes to have a government, which means at least 12 to 13 seats. Some of them don't even have 12 or 13 candidates running in the groups.
That's
yet.
true. That's true. And with the resignations, or as they've claimed, we're going to resign. We're not going to, seek to be elected again. I mean, you never know what's going to happen come nominations day, right? So I don't always like to go 100% by that. But
my wish is that by next week we can see some groups with at least 12 people promoting themselves as a strong party for contention.
Why do you think so many people wait until nominations day to announce their candidacy?
For the same reason we're talking. Those candidates want to make sure that they're on the winning team. If they can't be convinced that that team is going to win, I'm not going to join up with them. So some of them have even gone out and promoted themselves as independents and said, look, I'm available to join a team that wins. You can't campaign that way if you want to be part of a group or team. So one of the reasons why you're not seeing it happen is because those individuals are not sure. Do I want to join a team that I'm not sure might win? No, I want to be in the winning team. And that's what's happening.
Do you think sometimes it's a bit of, you could get blackballed in a sense, or a party will announce a different candidate to run in an area because they kind of want to push you out? So if you announce your candidacy a little too early, it might be, okay, well, so-and-so, this team over here is going to try to plant somebody over there just to take those votes away from you.
Well, there are many strategies for winning elections. And of course, we have people that have place who will run with no hopes of winning, but they can, of course, affect the outcome because they will take votes from certain candidates. And so they'll split the votes. That has been known to happen from time to time.
Right.
There are candidates who don't want to say where they're running yet because they want to see who they're running against.
Right.
If I'm going to run a race against Usain Bolt in his prime days, I'll probably just retire because I wouldn't be able to win him.
But iron sharpens iron.
But in elections, a little different. So what's happening is that there are candidates who want to run in certain districts and I'm not sure yet where they want to run depending on who's going to be running. So those are kind of keeping people back. But I'm saying wherever you're going to run, get the information about you out there. People are not going to vote you depending on where you're running. Yes, the people are going to vote for you because you're going to be the right person to represent them. And so your ideas and your goals and your information and your manifesto is what they want to hear about. So you could put that out there, but don't just wait to figure, okay, I'm going to vote here because that person might run against me. And there's some who may say that I'm not running, but have changed their mind. And I always remember this. I'm going to just take 2 minutes to say it.
No problem.
I always remember Ezra Miller saying this in Parliament years ago. There are two people who can't change their minds. A damn fool and a dead man. There's nothing wrong in changing your mind. I've changed my mind many times. If I'm going down this road and it doesn't feel right, I can stop and say I'm going to go the other way. So if I'm saying I'm not going to running for election this year, and I've told everybody, hey guys, I'm going to run, I'm not going to run, I've retired, I'm tired, I'm going to take a break, and I feel that I need to because I'm not seeing somebody who can represent the country. I'm so worked up inside, and all of a sudden I woke up one morning and said, by the way guys, I can't retire at this stage. It's like me. I wanted to retire from media 5 years ago, but I looked around and said, if I don't have Caymanian Times, is there another Caymanian newspaper that's out there? And I had to answer that question. I said, Ralph, hold off a bit. Just stick with it a little longer because you need to have a balance, an option for news in the media.
I'm glad you stuck around, and I think you absolutely should continue. You're a voice that is needed, and it's a different voice. Like, we all have to balance each other out.
Yes.
You made an important note about manifestos. Now, I'm understanding that some people are opting not to have any parties, I should say, are opting not to have a manifesto whatsoever. Any thoughts on that?
That's political suicide. If you don't have a plan for what you're going to do when you get in power, you're not going to have a plan. And this country will fail if there's no plan. There's also concerns that there has not been development plans for years. There have been talk about it. There have been efforts. But if we don't get a plan very soon, we're going to have serious challenges in this country. Look at what's happening around the world. I don't need to say anymore.
Yeah.
We have to have a plan. A manifesto is a plan. You can't build a house with a plan.
Agreed.
You can't do anything with it. I can't run a business without. If I didn't have a plan for my business, we call it business plans. If you have, my business will fail. I've been around for 13 years, and believe me, there were challenges. But I had a business plan. Without a plan, you're destined to fail.
Yeah, I agree. If you don't set what your goals are, then you're not really reaching for anything. And if especially if when you're running, when you don't announce these are the goals and these are the ways in which we're going to try to achieve it, you're not really aiming for anything. You just want to get in there for I don't know, the paycheck. Who knows what the reasons are?
Yeah.
But it's definitely a concerning time. And for the candidates that are listening, might be told about the show to tune into a little bit later because they know they can, especially on YouTube. You can tune back into Radio Cayman to listen to any of the shows. Have a plan, get it in place. Yesterday, now is late. There's several different options, whether it's going to be digital media, traditional media, especially in Cayman, is your bread and butter.
Yeah.
Take advantage of the opportunities that all media is giving you, whether it's free appearances, interviews, debates, the forums, anything like that. Try to take advantage of these opportunities and be prepared, because if you want to be leading the country, but you can't even lead with your own word to the people first, I'm gravely worried about the future of the Cayman Islands.
And one thing I'd like to add before we close off is that many of the groups or individuals who are planning to run have sought expertise from outside of the Cayman Islands to help them with their campaign.
Yeah.
That is good, but you will not get the true and the complete information. You have to speak with people on the ground who knows what's happening. So it's good to get assistance overseas, but you cannot count out the individuals and the knowledge that's on the ground who have known. And we know, you know where you can find that. You know who lives here.
Yeah. Well, the thing is, the people from other countries, what's going on in other countries that are way bigger than Cayman, especially in the Caribbean, it's a lot different. And you have to really understand the Cayman community, how Caymanians think when it comes to elections. So-and-so coming from such and such country to plan and strategize a campaign here with no real time or experience in the Cayman Islands, that really worries me. It's just, to me, it's a lack of foresight again.
Well, I've heard discussions on the culture in the Cayman Islands and many other countries that we have expertise in our own country.
We do.
And we don't use it.
Oh, Cayman loves to outsource for expertise that is already here.
And at the end of the day, it come back to the individuals on the ground.
Always.
So we're saying, just think a little different nowadays. You have expertise, you have experience, you have educated individuals in this country. I've been here for 45 years. I know.
Yeah.
And believe me, I came here from Montserrat because, of course, there was not enough bankers at that time. But now we have a ton load. Let's use our people who know what's happening, who know what's on the ground, to not only in the campaigns, but in other projects, in other concerts. Just let's think about, I'm not running for elections, by the way. I'm just saying, let's just think of our people who have the experience and knowledge and get them involved in giving advice and accept advice. Because whoever's in the next government, you need to listen to our people, because they're not going to take it for granted anymore.
No.
Times are changing, and with social media, like we spoke about, this is where it's very impactful. So we need to get the experience on the ground and let those people tell us what the thing is happening, rather than ignore them and get other outside consultants.
Agreed. Ralph, we got to wrap it up. You know, I'd like to add on to that, but we definitely have to wrap it up. We're a little late for the 9 a.m. headline news. Thank you to everybody for joining us on The Buzz this morning, and I'll be back with you on Thursday.
The Business Buzz is proudly sponsored by Cayman Insurance Center, specializing in property, life, and other lines of insurance products and services. And Kirk Market. Experience a world of choice. And by Yum. Daily school lunch menus are available to browse on the Yum website. Just visit yumcayman.ky for more info.
Information, entertainment, inspiration.
Covering Grand Cayman, Little Cayman, Cayman Brac.
Since 1976.